Okay, so I'll call the council meeting number 2 to order, Tuesday, December 5th, 2023. Regrets from the mayor. My name is Scott Elliott. Obviously, I'm the acting mayor, and Mayor Paul sends his regrets. He's away today. And Councillor Runge is going to be joining us via Zoom, and I'm sure he will be popping up momentarily. So first of all, I'd like to recognize that we're meeting on the traditional lands, traditional territory of the LHTAKO DENE Nation, and I will call for approval of the agenda as amended with a late agenda item, which is the West Quesnel Business Association 5-year budget forecast, which will be attached to F3, the West Quesnel Business Association, and that's, in the delegations. So if I can get, Councillor Goulet, Councillor Vic, any questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? And how about adoption of the regular council meeting minutes of November 21st, 23? Thank you. Councillor McKelvey, Councillor Rudenberg seconds. Any questions or comments? Good to go. All in favor? Yeah. No opposed. Thank you. Now we have 3 delegations tonight, and we will start off with the Canadian Mental Health Association, Quesnel's Counselling Services, with Stephanie Aaslie presenting today. Hi, Stephanie. Come on up. Have you been versed on the microphone? Yeah, just press her down. Thank you very much for being here, and we're looking forward to this presentation. And I got to say, it's extensive. There's a lot going on.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here tonight. So as it stands, the Quesnel Counselling Services for CMHA, our funding runs out at the end of December. We have applications for grants and funding out everywhere that we can think, so we are trying our hardest to keep it going. So tonight, really asking for any support that can be offered, so as well as a letter of support to attach to any further applications for funding that we can find. So as you see in the report, it talks about all that CMHA of Northern BC, the Quesnel office, has been able to offer since opening up its doors in 2019. So CMHA of the Quesnel office came to be when a group of like-minded community agencies headed by the United Way came together and recognized that we needed to open a counseling office in Quesnel to help expand the services provided by the health authority. So something unique about the CMHA office is that we offer free low-barrier counseling services. I'm able to meet with people when they need to meet, which helps reduce further trauma, and also allows people to cope in a healthier way by getting the services they need in that moment. Also able to meet after hours and on the weekends if needed as well. We've provided multiple different community psychoeducational courses, including Bounce Back for Youth, Mental Health First Aid, as well as Assist, Safe Talk, Safe and Sound training, as well as Duct Tape Isn't Enough. I've been able to go to various community agencies and tailor psychoeducational courses for them as well to support staff. We've also offered critical incident stress debriefing to community members, as well as other community resources after a critical incident. So the funding originally was for 3 years of operation, and we were able to keep the doors open throughout COVID and support people during that time as well. The funding, once those 3 years were up, there was a bit of a surplus, and that funding was then given to CMHA the BC division for distribution to 3 CMHA sites to continue base counseling work, as well as fund mental health first aid and assist. So those 3 sites were Quesnel 100 Mile House in Williams Lake, Quesnel and Williams Lake both continued with counseling services and training, while 100 Mile House provided trainings only. And that those offices, after this funding is over, will be, it looks like they will be shutting down at this point. So through the office, as mentioned, we've been able to provide multiple people with supports. Something unique about the services offered is people can come in and connect, as mentioned, when they needed to. So there could be an incident that occurs, somebody may reach out for services. In that week, I might connect with them multiple times, and then I might not hear from them again for months until they need a little bit of a touch-up on their skills that they're utilizing. And they know that the office is always available. They don't have to go back through an intake. They can just connect. They already have that rapport established, come in, do what they need to do, and then continue on. CMHA has also been able to sit in on multiple committees, and as well as the situation table and the CAT committee. We've been supportive and worked with various organizations offering the psychoeducational courses, as well as partnering to provide wraparound services whenever possible. When we found out that the funding would be ending, I sent out a letter just requesting letters of support, and we have received multiple, just speaking to how valuable CMHA is to the community and how much of a disservice it'll be if these services end. Which is essentially all in the report that you guys are given. I just spoke really quickly and gave you the information.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Stephanie. And it is a very extensive report. First of all, I'm remiss. Daryl Petzel is with us as well, and I'm sorry that I didn't mention that, Daryl. My apologies. Is there anything that you wanted to throw in, Daryl?
On this particular topic, no, I will recognize the importance of the service that CMHA provides in Quesnel, and I had the opportunity to speak with Stephanie and Maureen from CMHA last week, and I'm seeking some potential funding opportunities to help them out, and I don't have anything to report tonight, but do recognize that institution's importance in our community for sure.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Daryl. And I think we would all agree. I would suggest that anyone that can take a look at this report at home. I know that staff and our council here have read it all through, but it's extremely important. There's so much going on there. So I'm going to open it up for questions or comments from council. If anybody's got anything. Okay, Councillor Rubenberg, please.
Thank you. So thank you for coming in. I'm glad to hear that you're getting those letters of support. And one of the things I think I can say without any kind of prejudice is that the need for these services has not changed from when you first came to our community. And so for the bigger funder to not understand that really kind of shocks me. So I know that as council, we can do lots of advocacy work, and doing those letters of support, et cetera. But I think, again, as Scott said, this is one of those services, Acting Mayor, one of those services that without it being here will have an impact, even around Nourish, and the food bank and how it's intricately tied in with CMHA. And I know their funding is through till next October, but if they don't have that base, kind of home base for them, then that disappears too. And she's working so hard to build that program up. So yeah, I don't have the answer, but I'm actually very happy to hear that Mr. Petzel has some pots brewing in the back. So thank you.
Thanks for that, Councillor. Anybody else? So, I mean, the minimum that I see right now at this point in time is we can have a letter of support, but I think I'll go to the city manager for comment.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. Stephanie, I'm wondering if you could comment on who the letter of support should be to. Like, who are you seeking funding from? 'Cause if council does decide to give that letter, can you provide a little bit more clarity around that?
As it stands right now, we've reached out to MLA Corley Oaks, and we've also got an application into gaming to try to get fundings through that. I know that my acting executive director right now, Maureen Davis, is also kind of trying to be creative and reach out to whoever she can think of at this time to find some funding. So I don't know an exact address to who to go to, but yeah.
Anything else, Mr. City Manager? Well, I think we'll bring up the idea of a letter of support. Is any conversation of that? Any negatives there? Okay, Councillor Vic?
I'll make that motion if that's what you're looking for, Acting Mayor.
That'd be great. And second, Councillor Goulet. Any comments or questions on that? And I think as far as the city manager's talking about, we could at least send it off to Daryl and Stephanie, and maybe they could use it accordingly, or are you thinking of getting it off to someone specific?
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. No, I think what we'll do is we will do a letter of support and we'll send you over a draft, make sure it's kind of what you would like to see for it, and then finalize it from there.
Perfect, thank you on that. Okay, any questions, comments? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much for the presentation. It's very important. Keep fighting, and we'll help any way we can.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. Okay, we'll give Stephanie a second. And Ms. Hartley will get us organized, and then we're going to slide into decriminalization with Kelsi Andrechuk, the decriminalization coordinator for the city of Quesnel. Can you just turn on your microphone, please?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Is it on? Okay. I'll just begin with an introduction. My name is Kelsi Andrechuk, and I'm the Decriminalization Community Coordinator for the City of Quesnel in collaboration with Northern Health. I'm not new to working with the city, as I've been contracted to fill the role as a Community Social Coordinator from...
I'm sorry, Kelsi. I can hear you, but maybe some people can't. If you could bring the microphone just a little closer to your
Sorry.
mouth. That's great. It's okay.
Is that better?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. To fill the role as the Community Social Coordinator from September 2021 until transitioning into my new role this past September. During this presentation, I'm going to provide you a summary on what my position entails, some of the initiatives that I'm working on, a bit of education around decriminalization, and as well as a Clean Team update. First, we'll begin with the Clean Team update. The Clean Team continues to provide daily cleanups focusing on the city's high-traffic areas such as schools, parks, and sidewalks. Currently, the program consists of 4 full-time peers, 3 part-time peers, and 2 casual peers. Each shift en route duration is 4 hours long and $20 per hour. Aside from achieving cleaner streets and sidewalks, the Clean Team continues to facilitate healthy working relationships with the downtown businesses and partnerships. The Clean Team has remained successful in linking peers and other members of the employment area together to create a more balanced and inclusive approach. There have been some major positive shifts in the overall stigma and judgment peers have experienced. The next slide is going to provide our stats on how many units of garbage and individual needles the Clean Team peers have collected since we began in November 2021. These numbers only reflect the city's Clean Team. However, we should recognize that there are other Clean Teams that have existed through peer organizations such as CSUN and Seasons House. Currently, the city's Clean Team is the only one still operating. So total number of large garbage bags that we've collected is 1,653. Total small garbage bags is 6,866, and total needles is 5,125. Next, we're just going to transition into talking a little bit about my role and what my position entails. Provide on-the-ground supports for people who use drugs. Consistently interact with people who use drugs to gain insight, identify challenges, and inform strategies. Monitor provincial and local updates, ensure actions align with evolving policies and practices. Focus on connection to services, prevent misunderstanding, and work within a harm reduction framework. Improve relationships between people who use drugs and law enforcement. Overall, the main goal of my position is to alleviate the pressure between people who use drugs and RCMP and act as a resource guide to help connect people to services. Current tasks and deliverables. Regional implementation of decriminalization team meetings, mandatory monthly reportings. This reporting is shared with the province to assess decriminalization policy and ensure that it is being rolled out. Building and sustaining relationships, provide proactive outreach services. The main goal of proactive outreach is meeting someone where they're at and providing access to services. This could be providing hygiene supplies, food, snacks, harm reduction, assisting with booking appointments, or connecting them to other services. Community action team involvement. For those who don't know, the CAT team is a group of service providers and peers. We provide services in the CAT ban, which is a contract held by Seasons House. CAT is a mobile service available to anyone in community, and we provide a variety of different things like hot meals, hygiene supplies, harm reduction, drug testing kits, community resource information, and much more. I am in the CAT ban on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I am in partnership with a peer whenever I'm in the CAT ban. Community service reporting. This is a project I'm currently working on. I'm building a list of the relevant community services and basically creating a guide on how to navigate these. I've been attending one-on-one orientations with all of the different organizations to help facilitate this. Maintain, oh, sorry, we went over that. I think maintain, outreach and collaboration, and clean team coordination. This slide is just going to demonstrate the number of people that I've interacted with since I transitioned into my new role. So number of clients served, this is the total number of interactions had with people who use drugs. Number of unique clients served, this is the total number of people who were individually connected to care. And approximate percent of clients connected to another service. This is the percentage of clients who are successful in connecting to care. We're just going to go over a short policy review of decriminalization, just the main kind of points. Health Canada has granted a 3-year trial period effective from January 31st, 2023 until January 31st, 2026. Police will provide resource cards with information on local supports and will make voluntary referrals. Drug trafficking remains illegal. Decriminalization is not legalization. Locations excluded from the exemption are K-12 schools, licensed playgrounds, water parks, skate parks, airports, Canadian Coast Guard vessels, or helicopters. The legal limit is 2.5 grams, and this applies to adults 18 years or older. Decriminalization facts. Decriminalization does not legalize drugs, legalize drug trafficking, increase drug use. There is no evidence from decriminalization models around the world to indicate that decriminalization increases drug use. Decriminalization does reduce the risk of drug seizures, arrests, criminal charges, convictions, reduces stigma around drug use so people feel more comfortable with reaching out for help, and addresses health and criminal justice issues and promotes pathways to care. Here I've attached a copy of the decriminalization resource cards that police are required to distribute. Based on my conversations with RCMP, these resource cards are not as helpful as they had hoped. But again, decriminalization is still very new, and we are actively working on providing the best possible education and knowledge. Any just questions or comments?
Thank you very much, Kelsi. And once again, just so much going on there too. So I'll open it up for questions, comments from council. No, nothing at this point in time. Okay, I just want to thank you on behalf of council for all the hard work that you're doing. I mean, some of the stats are absolutely staggering. And being a downtown business myself, I do get to see a lot of the work, at least with the clean team and what's going on there. But there's just so much more to it. So, like picking up 5,000 needles in 2 years. I mean, if that's not happening, then there's a lot of safety concerns taking place, but there's so much more to it. So thank you very much for the presentation.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. And now we're going to slide into our third delegation, which is the West Quesnel Business Association and their 5-year budget forecast. We've got Councillor Rudenberg coming up to make the presentation for us with Susan McNeil. And you got that, Lorianne? It's the red one? Yeah, you got it.
I know it's always very odd to sit on this side. So good evening.
Oh, I think we've just unplugged. We'll get there in just a half a second. Got you, Lori?
Okay, nope, there we go. We're off like a herd of turtles. Lorianne Rudenberg, Executive Director of West Quesnel Business Association, and this is one of my board members, Susan McNeil. We're here to do our 5-year annual presentation to council around who we are and what we're doing, and all the great things that are happening on the west side. All right, so this is what drives us. Our mission is to enhance West Quesnel through beautification and business development. Our vision statement includes our ability to increase businesses and West Quesnel's profile and to enhance, promote, benefit from a coordinated, recognized, and professional business organization. So this is right out of the government's website about why we exist. It's actually in the local government page. A business improvement area, as you see, is a local area established by a council where business and light industry property owners finance activities to promote business. Things like removing graffiti, holding events, and conserving heritage property that helps the local economy and advance social well-being of the community. And you'll see that we do a lot of those things as a BIA.
So we'll just touch base on some of our strengths. So we are strong and we have well-established businesses, and we also have some recent new businesses that have come to us within the last 12 months. So as we are engaging new businesses, we have a sense of community. The Riverwalk Trail is one of them, Baker Creek Park, a variety of restaurants and businesses, of which we've seen some new ones come into the area. The night market, the skateboard park, the walking bridge, and community partnerships. And we're trying to promote, which is our philosophy, is that everything is a walking distance to everything.
So when Susan talks about the engaged new businesses, we truly have a group of new entrepreneurs on the west side that are really, they're gung-ho about the BIA, which is a real breath of fresh air for us, and it allows us to start thinking about newer ventures. So here's a few things that are new in the west side. If you go over the bridge, you'll notice that we have a new sign that welcomes you to West Quesnel. Again, we have multiple new businesses that have made West Quesnel home. We've partnered with the newly formed food bank, Nourish. That partnership includes things like the vendor fees throughout the past year from markets, craft fairs that are being held at the mall and our night market. Those vendor fees have gone to Nourish to support their food program. We just had a check presentation for just over $2,300, and that's all come from craft fairs and our night market. We have a partnership with Literacy Quesnel Society, which is a really neat opportunity for us to help support the readers in our community, and they do a lot of work with the youth. They have an upcoming event next week where West Quesnel has had the opportunity to donate some money for their books. You'll notice the Indigenous crosswalk has been installed. We're one of 3 BIAs in the community that worked with our First Nations to make that happen. We currently have a Light Up West Quesnel campaign for this upcoming Christmas season. It's going to be accompanied by Let West Quesnel Brighten Up Your Christmas campaign. You'll see the poster in the package there that we've taken around to our businesses when I drop off the lights to let them know that all we ask from them is to put them up, take a picture, and post it on social media, just so that people start to understand who and where we are on the west side. Some new things that will be happening is actually a new web page and social media presence coming in the new year. Our web page has really not been very good. It keeps sending you messages that you don't want to enter it. So we have actually meetings starting tomorrow to enhance our web page and our social media presence. We also offer West Quesnel bucks to businesses that can use them as gifts or employee incentives. We talk about partnerships, and I know that we have an opportunity coming this spring for a graffiti removal program that will work with the city's Clean Team Peer program. So we are slowly getting that project up and running. And you'll notice in the package the updated mural in the old Bargain Hunter building there.
So some of our weaknesses are, we have seen an increase in petty crime. There's a perception of West Quesnel being a less desirable place to live and own a business. We have vacant storefronts, although we are seeing that change. We have roughly, I believe, 8 brand new businesses that have just come in within the last 12 months. Homeless encampments along the river and the creek, and some unsightly premises, of which we're working on to change.
And I know that every BIA has some of these weaknesses, including the homeless encampment piece. I understand that there was 3 tandem truckloads taken from the latest encampment off the Baker Creek. So, you know, the timeline that it takes, our businesses notice how long it takes to remove some of these camps, and it has an impact on the businesses because quite often the people who are part of the encampments, you know, frequent the mall, et cetera, and not necessarily in a good way. So we have several opportunities ahead of us on continuing our partnerships with the community, including our First Nations, Nourish Food Bank, Literacy. We're creating opportunities to work with Quesnel's 2 other BIAs, which include the Downtown and South Quesnel, to promote shopping local. And we also have a program coming up. We just start talking about it in regards to literacy, and we're going to be working with the school district and the other 2 BIAs to do a literacy scavenger hunt during March. We're going to look for opportunities to work with the City of Quesnel to enhance the beautification of West Quesnel. Our daffodil program isn't in existence anymore, but we still look for opportunities that we can enhance it, or we can work with the city to beautify West Quesnel. We also want to find a working relationship with the city for a better use and upkeep of Lewis Drive rink. Right now, that is just based off of sheer volunteers, of those who want something to do with it, and I think we can do something better and do a better upkeep of it. And I know that there's also opportunities for future growth in West Quesnel, and so the BIA will look to capitalize on that future.
So in closing for this presentation, our goals and our objectives include increased communication with our members. We've been just launched a meet and greet, which was very successful, and we're moving forward with more of those, and hopefully monthly. Quarterly mail-outs and updated web presence. So we're excited to have a brand new web presence. We want to increase our social media presence for our members, continue our presence at events that help promote West Quesnel businesses, support businesses with the updated refresh shop in the West Village campaigns, create a business highlight feature on our social media platforms, continue to encourage our members to be active members with the BIA, and with that comes lots of conversations, and we're doing, besides the meet and greets, there's two of us as directors, and we're going around and we're meeting individual businesses with boots on the ground. So we're finding that by dropping in, having a handshake, saying hi, revamping what we're doing has been very encouraging for them to actually want to participate. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, we're just going to continue making better use of the Go West logo. So we'd like to create more stickers and PDF versions for members to also use on their platforms. Our goal would be to create the sticker, and those that want to participate would put the sticker on their door so that people would realize that they are participating in the West Quesnel Village program. And we're just in the process of creating a new pamphlet, so it will be available as an online tool as well as in a hard copy. And believe it or not, we found that people are very busy, and emails come to us by the hordes. And when we went boots on the ground, knocking on the door, handing a person a pamphlet, inviting them to a meet and greet and having coffee and a gathering, they were more than happy to want to come and attend, and it just made all the difference in the world. So email's great, but is not always the most receptive way to get new and current businesses to engage.
And so one of the other things that our directors have done, Susan was talking about pamphlets, but this is one of the ones, and you'll see it in your package, that they've taken around with them. So it sort of just gives them a bit of a who we are and some of the programs that we do offer to our members, which include our security grants. So up to $500, depending on the business, they can figure out what security means to them, whether it's new locks on their doors or cameras. They need to give us their receipt, and they will get a check back in the form of up to $500. And we've actually seen an uptick on this in over the past year. This program's kind of been in play for a couple of years, but just recently. So we have that in our budget as an ongoing line item. So these are just bits and pieces, you know, especially our new members kind of go, oh, you offer these kind of things. So it's really helping us as a BIA. So that's kind of that brief overall overview of who we are. You'll see that there is a letter there requesting a 2% increase in our levy. It's something that we haven't had in probably 10 years. They've had the same amount for the past 2 presentations that I know of. And so it's just a gentle increase for our members. And it has to do with things like insurance costs, and just overall cost of everything, and trying to keep our programs like the security grant piece moving forward. So you'll see that letter there, and you also see our 5-year budget forecast. That's part of requirements of this presentation. So any questions or comments? And no, we cannot do the night market every week during the summer. Sorry.
But you should. Look at all the money that you raised, right? Yeah, you're doing great work there, and we're really lucky to have the 3 BIAs that work in conjunction. There's, you know, besides the fun competitions, it's, you know, everyone working together. Do we have any questions or comments from council? Yeah, Councillor Vic.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. I am so pleased that you guys are getting some growth in your businesses there. As someone who lives in West Quesnel in a neighborhood there, I obviously shop in West Quesnel a lot, and I've definitely noticed not only the new businesses, but I've seen reinvestment, and I think to the optical store in the mall, major renovation there, and there's lots of other examples. So I'm really pleased you guys are having success. When all the BIAs are firing on all cylinders, it's good for the community. Regarding your graffiti program, I think other BIAs might be interested in how that works in conjunction with the Clean Team. I hope you're willing to share that experience. And yeah, keep doing the great work, guys. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. One of the things that you'll notice is the mall. It's kind of the hub of West Quesnel. And you know, there was a lovely manager there before, but unfortunately she's since passed. But the new manager has just decided that he's going to do whatever it takes to get people into the mall. So that's why he has craft fairs once a month, right? And it's not like they need the money. And so his corporate head office said, you know what? Donate it to whoever you think is important. And so those are the kind of things that are happening. I think they have 2 empty storefronts in the mall now, which is, it used to be half empty. And so people are excited to be there. If you were there on Saturday, you probably couldn't have found a parking spot in the parking lot. That's how busy the mall was, because they had their Super Saturday, the craft fair, and yeah, it's really quite a moving and shaking part of the community now.
Yeah, that's great, and I've noticed as well. So ditto to what Councillor Bick's saying. Any other questions or comments? I got a couple here. To have that from the mall manager, just use those profits to wherever you go, that's massive, right? And to see it going to food security, food bank, and Nourish is great. What a program, and you're really kind of setting the bar pretty high there. The murals that are going on and the beautification that's actually taking place, and that's one of the reasons for this is exceptional. I'm a mural guy. I've talked about it a lot. Coming from the island in Chemainus, and I just think every building should have a mural on it. And the homeless encampment that was on the creek, that was difficult for so many people, right? But it has been removed. There were challenges there, and there was housing offered. So I'm hoping that that's going in a positive way. Yeah, and we're going to head into your bylaw renewal request in city staff reports in a bit. So thank you very much for the presentation. Keep up all the good work. It's really appreciated. Okay, so that's going to close off the delegations. And then we're sliding into items arising from previous special closed meetings. So the Deputy Clerk will read this into the record, please.
At the October 17th, 2023 special closed council meeting, council passed resolution IC 23-1786 that council approved proceeding with a contract of purchase and sale for Lot 1, Town of Quesnel Plan 2363, and Parcel A and B of Lot 21, Block 2, Plan 1700, civically addressed at 157 Carson Avenue, commonly known as the Owens Parking Lot, for the assessed value of $44,800, with funds coming from the Land Sale Reserve.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Unfinished business, there's none. Committee reports. We've got the Finance Committee from November 13th, and Councillor Vic to report, please.
Thank you. So just to...
Sorry, Councillor. I should recognize that Councillor Runge is now with us, and that's dedication. I think it looks like you're in your vehicle. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Just a quick one. The gist of our meeting on November 13th was our first pass and first look at the capital budget. Lots of projects going on, lots are coming up, and we've got some important work to do to get that through. So that was the first draft. If the public's interested, I noted a website there where you can check out all the projects and all of our goings on from a capital perspective. And we will actually be resuming our analysis of the capital budget next Wednesday. Then we turned our attention to the RV park. As the community knows, we had our first operating year of the RV park, and we had high hopes on tremendous revenue and whatnot, it Didn't quite turn into that, but it was a beginning that could be a positive things in the future. Unfortunately, the operator suffered some losses because of the lower than expected visitors, and we heard about how the contractor would like to adjust how that contract works. I'm not going to go into too much more detail than that because Director Norburn will be bringing a report shortly in this council meeting, but I'll say that we did recommend that we pursue a fixed fee contract with the operator, and we recommend that to council. But that's just for information only because of the staff report that's coming up later on in this meeting. And other than that, that's all, Mr. Acting Mayor.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Councillor. So we will slide into city staff reports, and the first one is report number 2324, West Quesnel Business Association bylaw renewal request. Director Bolton to report, and Councillor Woudenberg, for obvious reasons, has recused herself.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to seek approval from council to proceed with preparing the bylaw to renew the business improvement area bylaw for West Quesnel. So the bylaw for West Quesnel expires at the end of this year. To renew the bylaw, the BA must present a strategic plan to council, which they just did. And once council has approved the strategic plan, they can request staff to proceed with the local area service bylaw for the BIA on council initiative subject to petition against. So that's where we mail out a letter to all the businesses, and they have the chance, if they want to let us know if they don't want us to proceed. So the recommendation is that council approves the West Quesnel Business Association strategic plan and directs staff to proceed with preparing the bylaw for the extension of the West Quesnel Business Improvement Area bylaw for the years 2024 to 2028 for the amount of $40,800 in 2024 and going up by 2% each year after that on a council initiative process subject to petition against.
Thank you very much. Can I get a mover on that? Councillor Vic, Councillor Goulet. Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you, Councillor Runge. I will remember to keep looking at you. So all that passes. Councillor Rudenberg. So now we'll slide into Administration Report 24 with the Minerals North 2023 Impact Study Report and Videography. Coordinator Coppin to report.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to provide results from an impact study as well as tourism videography from the Minerals North Mining Conference. An impact study of the event was conducted to assess how such an event affects the community. Surveys and interviews were conducted to gather the information. Key findings include that there were $610,000 of economic impact from attendee spending during the conference. That attendee organizers were highly praised for the organization of venues, schedule, and many other aspects of the conference. From survey results, 68% of the attendees' opinion of Quesnel as a destination were pleasantly surprised or so much better than expected. And 72% said they would definitely recommend Quesnel as a travel destination for family and friends. Opportunities that were pointed out from the report to improve include improved communication with the business community for larger events, a greater sense of arrival and welcome to the community for visitors, and development of an event strategy. Some of these suggestions have been incorporated into plans for welcoming visitors during the BC Games. Videos were also produced from the Minerals North highlighting Quesnel's hosting capacity and strengths to be used for events, event bids, promotions, and other uses as seen fit. And I encourage you to take a look at the YouTube video attached. It's Aspen Films who made the video, did a wonderful job.
And that was for information only. Thank you very much for the report. And if you want to read an extensive report, this is it. So 27 pages, but it's extremely important, I think, because we've talked before about the multiplier effect and how you bring people into town and basically just say, well, they go to restaurants and they go to gas stations and hotels and they do all these good things. But there is so much information in this report on just how good something like this is to a city like Quesnel, and quite honestly, you know, good and not bad, but just things that we can make a little better, like the greeting and how to include the whole community in something like this. So it's a great report. and I should have gone to questions first. So anybody got any questions or comments on this, on the report? No. All good for information only. So thank you very much, Coordinator Coppin, for that. Now we got the administration report, BC Air Access Program Grant, or BCAP, for the terminal building upgrade, and Supervisor Grant to report.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to seek council approval to apply to the British Columbia Air Access Program, BCAP, to upgrade the terminal building at the Quesnel Regional Airport. The Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure recently announced a new intake of funding for BCAP that closes December 22nd of 23. The ministry established BCAP in 2015 as a multi-year funding program to enhance the long-term potential of the BC aviation sector. Under the program, environmentally focused projects may receive funding of 75% of the eligible project costs. In 2019, the city refreshed the lobby of the terminal building to modernize it and reflect the city's brand. The proposed project will upgrade other areas of the terminal building and will include replacing the furnaces, hot water tank, lighting upgrade, and other energy efficient upgrades. Other elements of this project include a departure vestibule, carpet replacement, and upgrading the doors and locks for enhanced security of the building. The revamped scope of work for this application has incorporated future capital projects. The estimated eligible project costs are $320,000. The city contribution required is $80,000. Our recommendation is that council direct staff to submit a grant application to the British Columbia Air Access Program for 75% grant funding for an upgrade to the terminal building at the Quesnel Regional Airport based on estimated eligible costs of $320,000. Thank you.
Okay. Can I get someone, any questions or comments first? Yeah, Councillor Rudenberg, moving it? Okay, second. Okay. Councillor McKelvey, any questions or comments? Okay. Just thank you very much for the hard work over there. Hearing nothing but good news, so keep it up and let's hope we can get this one. Next is the administration report for the Quesnel Downtown RV Park Camp Host and Management Agreement Amendment. Director Norburn to report, please.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to obtain council approval to revise the terms of the camp host and park operator agreement that the city entered into in 2022 with Surge Security for the city-owned RV park. The city entered into a 5-year agreement in 2022 with Surge Security to provide camp host services at the RV campground. That agreement expires October 1st, 2026. Under the current agreement, the contractor is responsible for most operation and maintenance of the campground, including providing a system for online and in-person bookings, maintenance and cleaning of the campground, and camp host duties and site security. The first season of operation was the second year of the agreement, which was this year, May 1st to September 30th. Under the terms of the agreement, the contractor collected and retained 70% of the revenue generated through campsite bookings, with 30% paid to the city. Total revenue collected for the campsite in 2023 was $17,509.48. The contractor's share of that revenue was roughly $12,250, and the city share was a little over $5,000. The contractor advised that their share of the revenue did not recover their expenses and that they incurred a significant loss for the first season of operation. In light of that, the contractor has requested that the agreement be amended to provide a flat fee for their services, with 100% of the revenue to be retained by the city. The agreement contains language that stipulates that the revenue sharing formula will be reviewed following completion of the first season and may be adjusted upon mutual agreement of both parties. The fees proposed by Surge Security in a fixed fee are considerably lower than the expenses projected by Urban Systems for the campsite in their 2021 operations plan, and notably less expensive than the anticipated cost to the city if the city were to try to operate the park ourselves. The Quesnel RV campsite is not an established campsite yet, having only had one season of operation. Revenue for the park is expected to increase as the campsite becomes more established. It's not anticipated that the campsite is likely to break even in 2024 if the proposal from Surge Security is accepted, but it is feasible that it will break even and perhaps even generate a profit during the term of the remainder of this agreement. The recommendation from staff is that Council amend the agreement with Surge Security as attached for the operation of the Quesnel RV Park located at 21 Johnston Bridge Loop in Quesnel, changing the contractor payment from a revenue sharing formula to a fixed fee of $35,822.14 in 2024, $36,727.71 in 2025, and $38,667.30 in 2026, and that the mayor and corporate administrator be authorized to execute such documentation as required to complete the agreement.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I have a mover? Yeah, Councillor Vic.
Before I move that, Acting Mayor, I'm not sure. We already have a motion on the floor. We probably need to finish the vote on the last.
Thank you. I was going to do that after we're done this, but no, you're not wrong, though. I think the motion's on the floor. Let's just clean it up. I didn't take the vote on the BCAP, so we've already gone through questions and comments. All in favor? Thank you for your indulgence. Unanimous. Councillor Vic, you did move that. Yeah. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Rudenberg, any questions or comments? Yeah, Councillor Vic.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. So definitely, I think when we embarked on this, we didn't envision that we would have to rewrite the contract in this fashion. But I would urge council to consider that, well, a few things. First, in the first couple of years of operation, I think it's natural that there's going to be growth that is probably coming, and that the full potential of this has not even close to have been reached. So I think we should be patient and continue with this this business, I guess, and I think it will turn out, and I think we should be patient. And I would also point out that on the agreement, page 2 of the agreement, which is page 79 in the agenda, there is an option for us to terminate the agreement in the off season. So if something radical should change in year 3 or year 4 of operations, that we still have flexibility to make a change, unless I'm interpreting that wrong, Director Number, no. So I guess what I mean by that is if something goes seriously awry, then there's an exit strategy. And frankly, if there's other operating models that present themselves, then I think we have an exit strategy. So I think we should be patient and continue with our operator under the new arrangement, and with some new emphasis on advertising and some signage, I think we can look forward to much better results in the coming years.
Thank you, Councillor Vic. Anybody else? Councillor Runge.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry. A question to Director Norwood. For the Smithers campground, what's the size of the Smithers campground? There was an operating cost there on the Smithers campground. I'm just curious because that one seems quite a significant amount lower than ours.
They are lower. I don't know how many campsites they have. Manager Gauthier did the survey and provided the results, but it doesn't say how many campsites there are. But I know that some of the campsites that were in that survey are they're significantly larger campsites than the campsite that we're operating. Some of them generated revenue of $160,000 a year. So it's hard to compare apples and apples always, but the fixed fee that they use in Smithers is lower than the fee that's proposed by the contractor here. But the contractor here is proposing fees based on what their actual costs were in 2023.
I understand. Thank you. I understand that. I was just, my curiosity, I guess, it's a question close to Councillor Vic's. And the question is, if we were to do a little more research and find that these costs relative to other campgrounds around the province are high, do we have the ability then next year to revisit our contract, or are we locked in for 5 years?
Yeah, I think as Councillor Vic has noted, there's language in there that's quite flexible that basically says that either the operator or the city can terminate the agreement during the off-season for any reason. There's no stipulation there. So if the city at any time decides it doesn't want to continue to operate the campsite, or it's going to change the way that it operates the campsite, it has the ability to terminate the agreement by providing notice in the off-season.
So then just one final question. Do you think there's enough time right now if we're to actually look for another contractor for next year? Or is it just really, is it just best to just follow along? Like time-wise, do you think, because this contract is significantly different than the one we had a few years ago, or when we originally started. So I just want to make sure that we're not, if we had the time to make a change, that we could make a change. Sorry, I just lost my lady.
I think it would be tight. I think I included a line in the report that sort of referenced that. There's some risk when we put the expression out of interest out in the first time. We only had the one response, so it's possible that if we put it out to the marketplace, there might not be any submissions, or we might get 3 or 4 submissions that are very competitive. They might be more competitive than the offer that we have from the current contractor, or they might be honestly less competitive, and we might actually end up paying more to a different contractor. There's really no way of knowing, but it certainly, it would be tight. We would be posting it in January and then looking to get responses and hopefully settle up terms before the season would start in May. There's certainly a possibility that we might be late in starting or not able to open at all.
So then I guess my next question is, then I guess it would come up for renewal, barring anything else, would come up for renewal in 4 years, and if there were other interested parties.
Yes, this agreement expires in 3 years. There's 3 years left on this 5-year term.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. We'll go to the city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When we talked about this in our Finance Committee meeting, one of the discussions we had was around good faith. So this person or this company that came in and operated this, it came in with good faith. They lost money the first go around, but included in the contract was the ability to reopen this contract if presumably because we thought there may be issues because we didn't know exactly how it would operate. So I think part of good faith would be to stick with this operator for the next 3 years. There is some language in the contract was referred to, which gives us the flexibility if we needed to make a significant change. But I don't think it would be just because it wasn't quite where it was or we thought we could make more money some other way. I think that would be the result of something very significant to the contract. I think it's important that when the city goes out and puts out contracts that we try to maintain good faith that was anticipated from the other party. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other comments? So I'm going to, well, I understand what Councillor Runge is saying, and I understand the concerns for sure. And that's he was in at the Finance Committee meeting. But I do think that going to Councillor Vic and City Manager's points, that good faith is important in this situation. They went out on a limb and took a big hit. And so it was late in getting going, the RV park. It was late in us getting the communication out there. I mean, obviously staff did the best they could, but it was late in the season. And we heard so many good reports from people that stayed there and stayed extra time and spent more money in Quesnel. I think my opinion is too that we should keep it going and keep monitoring it. And I think we're just exponentially going to be seeing it rise each year. And that's my hope anyway. So if there's no, Councillor Vic, please. Sorry,
Chair. Just on that exact comment you were finishing, perhaps maybe we need to look at tweaking our rules at the campsite for length of stay. I think there was a mention in this report over fire pits. There may be small nuances we can make and change at our campsite to make it even more desirable as we grow it into the future. But definitely, I think it's premature to throw the baby out with the bathwater at this stage. Let's go the course here.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that's a valid point too. There could be things that we're not taking anything off the table of what could potentially take place there, but open conversations and just trying to drive it, I think it's a real asset for the community. Anyway, if there's no more comments, I'll call the question then. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, administration report 1624, Accessibility Committee Coordinator Carpenter report.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to obtain a resolution from council to appoint members to the Accessibility Committee. At the August 15th, 2023 regular council meeting, council approved the reestablishment of the Accessibility Committee. City staff has undergone the process of contacting community members, groups, and organizations to develop a group of volunteers to be part of the community. An information session was held on November 1st, 2023 at 3:15 p.m. to confirm commitment from community members under Part 3 of the Accessible British Columbia Act. The province requires that municipalities conform to the Accessible British Columbia regulation by establishing an accessibility committee, an accessibility plan, and a tool to receive feedback on accessibility, all of which the city has done. Terms of reference are drafted but will be reviewed by the committee at the first scheduled meeting. Under the terms of reference, the term for the committee members expires December 31st, 2025. And to reestablish this committee, the current council will need to appoint volunteers to the committee. The recommendation is that council appoint the following to the Accessibility Committee for a term to coincide with the term that will expire December 31st, 2025, and the list of names is there for you.
We don't have to list out all the names, I'm hoping. No, we're good with that? Okay. So can I get a mover on the recommendation or other thoughts? Yeah. Councillor Goulet, moving. Yeah, Councillor Runch, thank you for that. Any questions or comments? Negative, call the question, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you for that. Administration Report 1824, Bylaw 1953, City of Quesnel Multi-Unit Housing Incentive Amendment Bylaw, number 1953, 2024, first reading. Director Turner to report, please.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. The purpose of this report is to review the city's current multi-unit housing incentives bylaw and to consider extending the term of the bylaw and adding additional area to the West Quesnel housing incentive growth area. We're also going to propose an amendment to the low environmental impact definition so that we are raising that incentive up to something that's actually not now regulation, but actually promotes further incentive into increasing energy efficiencies in buildings. In 2016, Council adopted the first multi-unit incentive bylaw, 1805, for a 4-year term. In 2021, we did a revised bylaw for another 4-year term that is currently in existence. It will expire in January. Staff are recommending and have discussed with the Policy and Bylaw Committee, who recommended as well putting this forward to Council, an amendment to the bylaw to, again, extend the program for an additional 4 years, expand the West Quesnel incentive area. This was a recommendation that came out of the North Fraser Landing Revitalization Plan, as well as amending the local environmental impact definition to reflect the new environmental standards that will exceed the current regulations. One item to point out is we have currently had 3 buildings take advantage of this program. The value of those buildings probably well exceeds the $16 million mark that you see there. The assessed value of those improvements, however, is significantly lower because those are low-income facilities that do receive different assessments from BCCS assessment. That's why there's that significant difference there. Overall, the anticipated loss in taxation for those buildings is $271,000. But again, that money would never be realized without these buildings, and there will be additional, that's the future taxation that we will receive in over the years with just waiving the amounts in the first waiving the amounts in the first amount. The DCC waived have been $116,970 for those buildings. We are anticipating at least 2 more buildings looking to take advantage of these incentives over the next little while, hopefully very soon. So we do recommend that council proceeds with adopting the bylaw as recommended. The recommendation that council proceeds with providing first reading of the City of Quesnel Multi-Unit Housing Incentive Bylaw number 1953 and direct staff to proceed with the required notification of the bylaw.
Thank you, Director Turner. Councillor Rudenberg is moving that recommendation. Can I get a second? Councillor Vick, thank you. Any questions or comments on that? And just to reiterate, I mean, I understand. Oh, sorry, Councillor Runch, did you have a question or comment?
Yes, sorry. Just a question to Director Turner, if I could, and it's with regards to the step 4, the step code moving up to step 4. I'm just worried. Would it be possible that we would actually see a reduction in requirements, or is that just something that's now coming down the pipe with regards to building codes? That we're just a little bit of ahead. I just don't want to stop building if it was someone going in right now and that step code comes in, let's say next year fully.
The step code currently would require level step 3. And just so you know, when we're talking about this within the bylaw, this is only an option that a developer could take with regards to the different types of commitments that they would have to make in terms of receiving the incentive. So currently, there's a number of items that they have to meet, including a certain density, including some environmental stuff like xeriscaping, etc. One of the options is that they can increase their level of step code to allow to waive one of the other considerations. So yeah, I think it's appropriate at this time to just have that at the step 4.
Yeah, thank you. That's just perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Runch. Yeah, and I was just going to say that, yes, there is a deferral of taxes for 10 years, but it's creating housing that is just sorely needed in the community. And then after 10 years, obviously, you get that to invest some of that investment back. So I will call the question. We've got a first and a second then. If there's no further comments, all in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you very much for that. Administration Report 1924, Council Remuneration, Director Bolton to report, please.
The purpose of this report is to review the council remuneration policy and the increase to council remuneration effective January 1st, 2024. So the policy is attached, and as per the policy, council's remuneration goes up by the September consumer price increase in the consumer price index each year. So this year it was 3.3%. So I've included there a little table that shows the increase. So this report really is for information unless council has any input they want on the council remuneration policy.
Okay, thank you, Director Bolton. Just for information, thank you. Administration Report 2024, Quesnel Kangaroos 2324 West Fraser Centre Usage Agreement. Director Norburn to report, please.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to obtain council approval as the manager of the North Cariboo Recreation and Park Service to enter into an agreement with the Quesnel Kangaroo Senior Hockey Club for the use of the West Fraser Centre. So the current agreement with the Quesnel Kangaroos Hockey Club expired, but is renewed on a month-to-month basis under the terms of the agreement, or until until a new agreement is negotiated. To simplify the administration and execution of the agreement, it is between the city as the manager of the North Caribou Recreation and Park Service and the club. The proposed agreement was brought to the Joint Advisory Committee at its meeting on November 14th with the recommendation that the agreement be approved by Quesnel City Council. The agreement is attached to the report for information. And the recommendation is that Council enter into the attached agreement with the Quesnel Kangaroo Senior Hockey Club for the use of the West Fraser Centre for the 2023-2024 season, and that the Mayor and Corporate Administrator be authorized to execute such documentation as required to complete the agreement.
Thank you, Director Norburn. Do you have a mover on that one? Anyone? Councillor Runch? Councillor Vic? Any questions or comments? All good. Call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? No, unanimous. Thank you. Administration Report 2124, Rogers Communications, Proposed Telecommunications Tower, W6412, Dragon Lake. Request for concurrence. Director Turner to report, please.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. In summary, the proponents of the telecommunications tower are regulated by ISED on behalf of the Government of Canada. As part of their approval, ISD requires proponents to consult with land use authorities as provided for in their client procedures circular. The typical consultation area under the regulations is all properties within 3 times the tower's height, as shown in the attached information package. We do want to note that the city also requested that Rogers include all mobile home owners and tenants of the 2 intersecting mobile home parks in addition to this area, which they did. The proposed site is located near the west end of Balsam Ave, northeast of the existing TELUS tower. After the default consultation process for the proposed location, Core 1 Consulting did not receive any objections. Rogers is now requesting a resolution supporting the consultation process from Council. It is recommended that Council receives for information the staff report on land use considerations regarding the request for endorsement of a new telecommunications tower on Lot A, District Lot 6677, Caribou District Plan PGP 37730, except Plan BCP 32503.
Okay, we don't need to read in the rest? And the council provides following resolution?
Yes, I'm just completely going to skip that. And continuing with the resolution, and that council provides following resolution on the matter. The City of Quesnel is satisfied with Rogers' consultation process as outlined in ISD's default public consultation process, and that the City of Quesnel has been consulted and concurs with the proposed tower location. The proposed tower is permitted use, and the proposed design and location are acceptable to the city. And that's the end. Thank you, Acting Mayor, because that is important.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Rudenberg is moving that. Councillor Vic, second. Any questions or comments? I'll call the question in. All those in favor? No opposed. Thank you. Administration Report 2524, Dragon Lake Boat Launch Design. Coordinator Blair to report, please.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. The purpose of this report is to request council initiatives funding to complete design work at the Dragon Lake boat launch. Design work stamped by an aquatic engineering firm is a requirement for the Water Sustainability Act Section 11 application. This design work includes surveying and site assessment, as well as modeling and design, including a Class 3 cost estimate. This is just for the boat launch itself, not for the outhouse or any of the other work. This design work will also position the city to seek grant funding for the project, which is estimated to be around $400,000 plus or minus $30,000. There was an error in my staff report with that number. The recommendation is that council approves the use of up to $5,000 from the Council Initiatives Fund to complete the Dragon Lake boat launch design work.
Thank you for that. Councillor Rudenberg moves. Councillor McKelvey seconds. Any questions or comments? Councillor Vic, please. I see you, Councillor Runch.
Thank you. I don't have an objection to the recommendation, and I think this project has broad community support. I'm just curious why this is coming from council initiatives when this is a joint planning or CRD city joint function. We've agreed that this is a joint function, I believe. Why? I'm just curious why it's coming out of the city.
Okay, thanks for that, Councillor Vic. We'll go to City Manager, please.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. So when this was brought to the joint meeting, the CRD agreed that they would pay their share of operating costs will come forward, but they didn't agree that there would be any share of capital costs. So this is precursor to a capital cost. It's the engineering to figure out what needs to be done, and it will become part of that capital cost. At some point in time, we may need to raise that question again with the CRD about contributing towards capital costs, because as you can see, this is an expensive project. It's, a very round estimate of $400,000, of which we're hoping to get some funding from the province. There's been some discussions around that, but whatever that shortfall is, if there is a shortfall, after we've gone through that process, we may be approaching the CRD and say it's time to revisit that conversation about capital. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is that sufficient? Yeah, Councillor Runge, please.
Yes, thank you. So I'm definitely in favor of this also. My question just is, would it be possible, or what's the big difference of also having the outhouse in this plan so we don't have to go to that later? Because I believe that will need some sort of assessment also.
Yeah, that's a good question. I talked to the aquatic engineer about an outhouse plan as well, and to get an engineered stamp on that outhouse being so close to our riparian area is a kind of a different ballgame. So that'll take a bunch of extra work on top of the boat launch, but I figured it would speed the process up if we did the design work for the boat launch. We could get going on that and then revisit the outhouse as time progresses.
Okay, we got a thumbs up. Keep your eyes on the road, Martin. Oh, that's a first. Multitasking. Okay, so we've got a mover, we've got a seconder. Any more questions or comments? I just want to thank Coordinator Blair for all her hard work on this. She's been pushing it through. So we'll call the question then. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Thank you.
Hey, just for the record, I'm not driving. I do have a driver.
It's still great. I just need 1 second. Okay, so council information package, there was nothing brought forward. There's no correspondence to the council at this point in time, and bylaws. So we've got bylaw 1952, City of Quesnel Comprehensive Fees and Charges, by amendment bylaw 1952, 2023, final adoption. Mover, please. Yeah, Councillor McKelvey, Councillor Goulet, any questions or comments on that? All in favor? No opposed. Thank you. And bylaw, so we address this? The multi-unit housing? Yeah, we've already signed off on that. Good. No new business. Information and question period changes to upcoming meeting schedule. The only change is strategic planning on December 12th, and we will not be having joint planning at that point in time. And the changes to 5 p.m. as well for the strategic planning of council and city staff. No changes to committee appointments. Announcements of events upcoming or previous. Councillor Rubenberg, please.
Thank you. So this is a bit of a sad note, and it's come to me via Colleen Gattenby, the secretary for the Arts Council. Bernice Heinzelman passed away peacefully yesterday, Monday. She was a strong advocate for the arts and was passionate about the building of a performing arts center. She spent the day before, on Sunday, celebrating Christmas with her family. They had a group of people that came out and sang Christmas carols to her at her place days. She was in palliative care at her home, and we know that she's touched many hearts and will be thought of and fondly remembered. And I hope that her family finds peace in the memory of everything that Bernice has done for our community.
Well, I'm not going to say thank you for that, but I will thank Bernice. She's been such a force for this community in the arts and so many things. She was involved in so many things with the city. So that is some sad news. I was not aware of that. Any other events or announcements? Nope. Any gallery questions? Nope. So now we're just going to go into closed or just adjourn. Okay, so can I get a mover on adjournment? Councillor Vic, Councillor Rudenberg, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you. That